front of the stage.
Where do you stand on the Knicks and them missing out on Donovan Mitchell? And you're more qualified to speak on what I was talking about. CAA running the Knicks, Leon Rose running the Knicks, and he was supposed to get the players with relationships. I thought that, not player evaluation, was the strength there.
Well, I would be remiss to not say today's edition of Basketball Illuminati, we address many of these things, talk about that Donovan Mitchell deal and what happened with the Knicks. Basketball Illuminati. Keep your third eye open. Available wherever you get podcasts. We also talked to Sean Patrick Griffin, who we kind of did a postmortem on that Donaghy documentary. And let me tell you something, guys.
A lot of holes in it, huh?
A lot of holes. So you definitely don't want to miss
What happened there with Untold? They've done good work, but they trusted Donaghy a little too much, to be honest, and they didn't vet some of the stuff he was saying.
Untold, to me, the power of Untold is we get these people in the chair. You're going to hear from these people. And now, what they say is just, but we're going to take their word for it, but we get them in the chair. So they got Donaghy in the chair, and they got Batista and Martino. But the reality is, there were things that were, what Sean Patrick Griffin, who wrote the book Gaming the Game, which was the in-depth, definitive, account of what happened in the scandal. He says, there's stuff that I know because I wrote this book, and if you read my book, you'd know it too. And then there's stuff that just doesn't make sense. Like, just on a surface level, very lazy kind of documentary work, if you will. There's a part where he starts off, first of all, he mentions a lot of stuff, non sequitur stuff that has nothing to do with him. Oh, that Kings-Lakers game, one of the worst officiated games. Was there any kind of fixing going on? No? You don't know? Okay, so what are you doing? You're just saying things. The other thing was, they never mentioned this in the documentary, and this is in the book. They said, he's 37-10. He's the Elvis. He's 37-10 on games that he officiated in. When he had to pick games that he wasn't an official in, including a handful that were Scott Foster games, his guy, he went to like 1-6 or 1-7. He was so bad, they told him, never mind. Let's just stick with the ones that you're repping, because clearly you have no insights. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about. And so there was a lot of stuff like that, just the code they talk about. If I ask about your brother Chuck, it's a home game. If I ask about Johnny, it's a road game, right? It's the road team.
Because they feared they were being wiretapped?
Sure. Hey, let me ask you something. How does that code work when there's 13 games on the schedule? Meaning that can only apply to one game. Which game do you think he's talking about? Scott Foster's game? Is he talking about Tony Brothers' game? Derek Stafford's game?
I got you off the topic. You can cover. You can get more of this on Basketball Illuminati.
One last thing, because Tom came up with this one. They had the clip with Knicks Heat, and Derek Stafford hated Pat Riley, and Isaiah Thomas is his boy, and I knew he would try to stick it to him. Tom went back and watched that game, did the analysis. Derek Stafford called 16 calls. 9 of them were for the Knicks, 7 in favor of the Heat. Tim Donaghy made 18 calls. Set the line. How many do you think were for the Heat and how many for the Knicks?
Why don't you just tell us?
16 calls for the Knicks. 16.
Wow.
So if you're talking about the Knicks covering a spread because one of the refs had ulterior motives, that's absolutely true. But it wasn't Derek Stafford. It was Tim Donaghy. And he walked around in this documentary throwing accusations left and right that were just patently false to anyone who did 5 seconds of research, like Tom did, or read a book that Sean Patrick Griffin wrote, would have known immediately this guy's full of shit. But they didn't. And everyone's running around saying, this document, I knew it. I knew the NBA was rigged. I knew, they're trying to silence this guy. David Stern would have had a drone strike to stop it. No, man, no. The guy's a liar.
Don't watch Untold, the documentary series with Donaghy. Do listen to Basketball Illuminati.
Bang.
If you want to be properly informed on this. Again, though, you're having trouble answering my questions because I asked you about the Knicks.
All I got out of that story is Tim Donaghy should be a celebrity prognosticator this year.
Again?
Oh,
we've used him before. Yes.
Repeat offender. Let's do it.
Repeat offender.
Yes, we have used him before. The Knicks.
The Knicks. Okay, so here's the interesting things about the Knicks. We start with everyone missed the boat. Everyone's asking, did the Knicks not offer enough? Were they offering too much? No one stopped to ask, is Donovan Mitchell a good fit for this team? For $5, for $5 million. For one draft pick, a second-round pick, for all the draft picks. Is he a good fit for this team? Let's assume they got Donovan Mitchell and they didn't have to give up their precious R.J. Barrett. Donovan Mitchell, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson. Does that sound like, cohesive pieces that really complement one another? No, it's a terrible fit. Donovan Mitchell's a star, yes. The only reason they were chasing him was because he's a star and because he was a CAA guy. If you stop there and say, wait a second, what am I building? What am I trying to build to? Even if R.J. Barrett isn't there. Brunson just left Dallas because he doesn't want to play behind a guy who's ball dominant, right? Nothing personal. It's just like, hey, I think I'm a lead guard. I think I proved it when Luka was out. I want to be a lead guard. I'm going to do it in New York. Awesome. And then a month later, you try and go get another guy to make him go back to what he was doing? Come on, man. It's all ridiculous. No one stops to ask, should we do this? It's just, can we do this? But should we do this? The answer should have been no. So the Knicks, I think, dodged the bullet in not allowing their own lunacy to get them into a situation that was doomed to fail. The problem is, once you get into this, you're in a lose-lose situation. If you got him, it wouldn't have worked, and everyone would have said you gave up too much. If you don't get him, everyone's saying, I thought you were the guy that's supposed to get us guys, Leon Rose. And on that note, and you guys are going to love this one. Do you guys know who did the negotiation for the Knicks?
Who's that, Amin?
And for the Jazz? For the Jazz, it was Justin Zanuck, who is the GM. Danny Ainge is the president of basketball operations. Justin Zanuck is the GM. He does the day-to-day stuff. For the Knicks, it wasn't Leon Rose, this agent, negotiator, kind of shark from the business world, right? Who has relationships everywhere. That's what they sold us on. It wasn't Scott Perry, the GM, who does the day-to-day stuff. It was Gerson Rosas, who was hired recently as an advisor. Guys, I've never heard of an advisor leading the negotiation on, and that's not a knock on Gerson, right? Gerson is.
It sounds like a knock on.
No,
Gerson.
it's not. It
sounds
not.
like a knock on
It's
Gerson.
it's not because
we're knocking on Gerson.
We
are. We're knocking on Gerson.
No,
he shouldn't have been doing the negotiation. You're saying he shouldn't have been doing the negotiation.
I'm saying as an advisor, if he had a different title, so it's not the man I'm talking about. It's the position in the company, right? I would trust myself to negotiate on behalf of Meadowlark, but my title does not lend itself to be someone who should be speaking on behalf of Meadowlark, right? His title does not lend itself to be someone who should be speaking on behalf of the team. Advising, sure. Input, sure. But leading the negotiation, again, not about Rosas. It's about an advisor, not your president, who's a freaking former agent and was brought in here because of relationships and negotiating. And he's literally 0 for 2 on both of those things.
Mismanaged. I can go to the front of the line and accuse them of being mismanaged.
Right this way, Mr. Le Batard.
How about Bleacher
The
Report?
usual?
How about Bleacher Report? Yes, please. I'll have the platter of Knicks are always in a lose-lose situation, no matter what the situation is.